Good morning to a glorious day 359. Beautiful sun out this morning. I was on the beach this morning at about 5:30. Very still, calm waters today with hardly any clouds in the sky. A little bit of a different breeze. It seems to be sort of going a bit more northeasterly, which is quite weird, as in blowing northeasterly. But anyway, welcome. Good morning. First of all, if I start, Nana in England, happy birthday today. Big 189. Big 90 next year. Next year we've got a lot of birthdays. Mine's 50 next year, 90 with Nana. My mum is 70. Hi mum, by the way, how are you? Got some big birthdays next year. Awesome. For once you're seeing me not in black. I only wear black, by the way. But one thing I am doing today is, let's go Brandon. Exchange rate today is 1.15. When I first started this project, we were at 143. So building this project was reasonably cost effective, as much as it wasn't the 2 that we were having back in the early 2000s. 143 was reasonably healthy. So all of the actual prices to build a property around the world have gone through the roof. And the exchange rates are just absolutely ridiculous at the moment. So I've been speaking to quite a few people that are building on the island at the moment, and you're all going to experience some serious pain. So I suppose within reason, what you really should be doing at this present time is considering whether to delay, because materials are going to become hard to get. The prices for those materials are going to go through the roof. The exchange rate, certainly if you're from England or the US or Canada, is going to be non-existent. It's going to be bloody expensive to build here. So Biden, sort your bloody self out, because at the moment you're dictating what happens around the world. Anyone that thinks that a country dictates what it does is mental. Everything is controlled by the US. US influences everything, and at the moment they're on some suicide mission to physically destroy anyone wanting to do well in life. So be careful if you're going to be building on the island, because like I said to you a couple of days ago, sand has doubled in price. So the island relies on most of the things being imported. A lot of places got empty shelves rather than being stocked up like normal. I did witness that yesterday when I went out to buy some bits. And the price of those products are going through the roof. So anyway, so today was about happy birthdays. It was about just a little bit of a warning to people. If you're exchanging money at the moment, we have to send money over every month, obviously, to pay the bills. And what we're physically getting back for what we're sending is nowhere near what it was this time last year. To give you an example, on 10,000, sending over 10,000 UK, you were getting obviously 14,000 US, which is 28,000 Bayesian. You're lucky if you're going to get 11.5 now. So 11.5 is 22 to 23 Bayesian. So it's a massive drop, and the prices here are going through the roof. So be really careful. Anyway, what's today's job? We haven't got a mason in today, unfortunately. He can't do Friday. So at the moment we've actually got, like I said to you last night on the recap, we've got the pool edge here. We've got to cut the rebars out, and we've got to get that well treated so that tomorrow, that's one thing he can plaster, and he can plaster the top. I'm not too sure why they never plastered the top. I think they were thinking that the blue plaster was going to come up and around and over. You still have to plaster the top. So I've got no idea why that wasn't done. So anyway, that's got to be done. Rebar cut out first, weldcrete second, and then tomorrow he can plaster that in. Then obviously he's going to be plastering these pieces here. So tomorrow being Saturday, he's hoping to work till 6 o'clock and get the garage openings done, which, like I said yesterday, because of the miscalculation, we've actually now got 1.25 inches of mortar stroke plaster to go on both sides, which is a bit of a pain in the backside, but it does protect the steel. So that is a driven area of wind and salt, so it definitely needs to be covered properly. So a bit of a pain in the backside, but probably a blessing in disguise to a certain extent. So today is going to be de-weeding the gardens. I want to spend some time rebalancing up the kitchen units, because at the moment, like I said, over the last 2 months of us not being there and the environment taking a bit of condensation and whatever else, there does seem to be some movement in the doors. So I want to readjust the doors if I can, because they look an absolute mess. The kitchen fitters that did fit the kitchen did do one of the units on the left-hand side too high, so I want to try and lower that down and see if I can balance it and then do all the doors. So that's what my plan today. I want to try and do that. I want the guys obviously to get de-weeding. I want the weldcrete and the cutting out here done. And other than that, I think we're pretty much, that's going to be our plan for today. And then it's going to be a full-on day tomorrow. I personally, I'm going to try not to do Saturday and Sundays moving forward. I'm going to try and spend some time with the children and my wife. But the guys will be working a flat-out day tomorrow. Other than that, beautiful day today. Things have settled on here. Like I showed you guys yesterday, we've tried to obviously just take a very small amount off of here and try and push it over to the berms, ensuring that as and when the rain does come, and we've had quite a lot of rain here in the last 2 months, and obviously I've not been here. So they've said that the water has been running down to here. As you can see, it's still damp there as it is. I mean, personally, I would raise that if I could. I don't want water sitting there in all fairness, but if I can try and stop the water coming this way, then whatever lands up here can settle. But if there's a tornado of rain coming this way, then we have a problem. The one thing I am going to try and do today, if I can, is try and find a telephone number to call with regards to trying to get that well fixed and replaced. It is very close to falling in, and without being rude, number one, it's going to cause a lot more cost if they've got to try and pull that concrete lid out of the well. And number two, if one of my kids falls down there, then it'll be a very different conversation going on with the city about obviously the well itself. So I'd rather get it fixed, get it operational, reduce the cost of fixing it if we do it now. It's obviously safe for everybody, and that's one of the reasons why I put that there as well. One, because the water coming this way, but everybody that sometimes wants to come to the beach, or people that come through the beach, think they can walk over it. They're literally walking over the well. I mean, I've actually had the surveyor, he's had to do the markings on the plots. So we've actually obviously got a marking here and one over on this corner. I've actually asked him to put an X in line on the lid itself, so that if anything, obviously it shows us where the lines are, but if anything, people look at it, look at the red cross and think, you know, danger, so hopefully they won't walk on it. But there's been so many people walking over it, so I didn't want to go too high here, but I'm trying to incentivize people not to walk on it. The last thing I want to see is lots of people down here trying to rescue someone that's fallen down, because it's about 18 foot deep, so you're definitely going to be a bit of trouble. Other than that, obviously, as you can see, there's just no breeze. The sea is so calm this morning. Unbelievable, absolutely gorgeous. There's no movement in the trees at all. Stunning. So anyway, 10 to 8. Yeah, I'll report to you a little later on today when the guys turn up and we start some work. But kitchens today, weldcreting, de-weeding. Oh, and also, by the way, one of the weed sheets did turn up yesterday, one roll. So we one roll down, so hopefully they're going to deliver that today. But we can also, if we get the weeding done, we can actually start rolling out some of the weed sheets to keep the weeds away. So that will be another task for today. Anyway, let's go, Brandon. Check in later. Okay, we're at 2:30. The boys have been busy. We got half of the back now de-weeded. The weed sheet, the second roll, has arrived. We had Town and Planning here as well. Town and Planning just turned up. Ramon, thank you very much for coming. Said you've got a great job, done well, all signed off. The one thing we have to do is remove the coloured grass on the front of the building, because it's not ours and it's meant to be classed as some form of walkway or I suppose public access way, so we've chopped those down. He wants to see a picture of the irrigation pump fitted, which is fine, and once those two things are done, we're signed off, which is great news. Shelwyn has actually been cutting the steels out of here. As you can see, he's cut them out and has now hosed them down, ready for Osfo and some weldcrete. And we've unboxed at the front. Let's go around the front and have a quick look. So that's what we're looking at now. There's a lot of de-weeding. And the one problem we do have, obviously, is we still got a bit of a highness going on in the middle. So really what we should be doing is it needs to be like that all the way through. So in an ideal world, really what we need to do is get the bobcat round there and scrape that all the way over to that corner and push it down that side, try and get it more level. Anybody on the island that has any experience with laying AstroTurf, let me know. In England, we would normally take the mud down slightly and we would put an aggregate on here and roll that and make that hard. Then we would put down a weed sheet and then we would put down the turf. Here, probably going to be marl. Everyone loves a bit of marl. So as you can see here, we've got quite a difference in height. So in an ideal world, from about here, we really need to scrape off a good 3-4 inches and shove it down into that corner. Now with a spade and a rake, that will take us forever. So in an ideal world, I need a better solution to that. So anyone got any ideas, let me know. But I definitely need to take that back and put something on top to make it more solid. Chris doing a great job on one of the cars. Thanks, Chris. We came back from the 2 months off, and we experienced quite a bit of damp inside the car. So whether we left something damp in the car or not, I don't know, but there was mold all over the seats. So Chris has come down, he's a friend of a friend, and he's steaming the seats and making it look fresh. Fresh, as my wife says. So anyway, fortunately the beautiful plants have had to go. So we're back to being a bit plain and boring. But anyway, had to be done. That's one thing sign off needs to be. So again, I'm assuming it's a bit different than here. Obviously there's nowhere to go. You're at the beach, but that would normally be a path you would walk on, I suppose, to save getting run over by cars. But obviously it's a bit different here. It's a dead end. No cars really come down here. But building regulations state that that's where you're allowed to build. That is your guard wall. And then you have to be at least 6 foot from your guard wall with your house. So you have to be a certain foot from the center of the road to your guard wall, which is where this is, and that's well in line. That is not ours, which means we're not allowed to build on it and not allowed to put plants on it, hence the reason why they're now gone. And then you have to be at least 6 feet from there, and we're 10 feet, so we're plenty off. So the one thing that planning did do today was analyze the building lines. So again, anybody out there that is building this so you have to apply $150 Bayesian dollars for a start certificate. And what you do after you've actually applied for that start certificate is that they will come out and inspect your plot to ensure that your lines have been pulled. So the engineers and the architects will show you where they are, and you should have something that looks like this. Not a completely smashed up well. On that note, I'll update you on that in a minute. But as you can see, there's a nail that's actually put through that curb with a red cross. That is where my property starts. So as you can see, I have to be behind that line. And as you can see, the wall in the background, there's another one over there, there's another one up near the letterbox, and there's another one in the far corner. So you have to make sure that you're in your boundaries, number one. As you can see, he's pulled the line from there over, and it's obviously behind the wall, so that's absolutely fine. He also inspected all the others, the one up here. And again, my architecture drawings actually showed me that my boundary wall that side had to be further over that way by 5-6 inches. If I'd done that, I would have definitely been out of my boundary, and then he would have had a problem. So always, even though you employ a surveyor to do the work, always make sure that you double check that everything's right. As you can see here, all the plants are gone, which is good. So that picture's now been sent to him for approval. The bought well, that's what I was updating you. I've just made a couple of phone calls now, because apparently everybody knows somebody in the drainage area that can come and sort it. And so far we've had about 6 people arrive, look at it, disappear, and nothing's ever happened. So as you can see, this is a well. So this is meant to be out the floor by about normally 24 inches. But you know, sometimes you can get away with 12. But as you can see, that is completely caved in, and the lid is just sitting there, and people keep walking on it. So we've obviously put this here, like I said in the video earlier on, to try and stop people doing that. And as you can see, it's the main walkway to the beach. So sometimes people walk that way. They can walk straight through there if that's what they want to do, but if they walk on there, they've got a problem. So I keep on putting irons in and putting the caution tape around it, but for some unknown reason it just disappears again. So I don't know who keeps doing it, or whether the sun is just melting the tape, but obviously it's not my job to do that. This isn't my well, this is the city's. So I've just spoken to somebody, and they've confirmed that they're going to try and get somebody out to look at it. But again, that will be, well, I'd say probably the 6th or 7th person that will come out if and when they come out. So it's not changing, and we've had to build our wall around the well. So anyway, fingers crossed they'll come out finally, tell us what they're going to do about trying to make sure that I don't lose a human being, certainly one of my children, down it. I'm sure they'd rather take a phone call from me asking them to sort it rather than me losing one of my children. Callie. If I lost her down there, it would be a very different phone call, trust me. Anyway, she's not daft enough to walk on out. I've told her not to, but at the same time, other people that aren't used to the area or underway. Sorry about that. That was incoming phone call. Don't even know where I was. Yeah, if anything goes wrong with it, and the people come to the area, they don't know what's there. I mean, only yesterday, yesterday and today actually. I've had 2 people come to the property about looking at stuff. The guys that were doing the actual Bobcat stuff yesterday, Town and Planet came out today, they walk on it. I'm like, don't walk on that, whatever you do. So you can't tell it's a well, it just looks like a concrete base, but it's actually a well that's caved in. Here's the other line that I told you about. It's right on a telegraph pole with no light on it. Again, I've made a phone call today about trying to get a light mounted on there. That's the whole reason why the pole's here, by the way, YOE162. That is a light pole. So there's one light here, he's got one. There's nothing on this one, and there's one right down here near the beach. So this is very dark in the evening, so I need a light put on there. So I've just put a phone call in and left a message for them, so hopefully they can sort that out. As you can see, there's a little red steel in the corner here. Where am I? Can't even see in the dark. Just in there, look. And as you can see, the wall is on this side, so I've tried to go this side. Now the architect said the wall came over here, so thank God I didn't need to do what the architect drawing said, otherwise I'd have been in trouble. That's for sure. The old box in here has also been done, but the guys have unfortunately not done what they should have done. This is level with the wall itself. They should have put some form of 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch ply on here to take that back, so they can actually plaster over and around. So I'm not too sure how they're going to get around that, and also it's pissed. Like I told them, it's not boxed properly. Now they're plastering it anyway, so it's not major. They can actually lose that in the plaster, but I don't know what they're going to do about this. And obviously this one wasn't actually on the wall tight enough, look. So they're going to have to scrape all that off and try and lose that without trying to make it look horrendous. So good luck with that, Joe. Hope you know what you're doing. What else? I'm thinking about changing the colour grey. I don't know if I mentioned in my videos. The light grey, it's not doing it for me. I like the white, no problems at all. The grey at the bottom of the house I definitely don't like. So ideas on colours, let me know. I like this sort of colour, this concrete, I call it more like an army greeny grey, khaki grey, whatever you call it. So I'm thinking about doing something like that. So I'm going to go to Sherwin-Williams on Monday and I'm going to try and look at some samples. And I think I'm going to change all of the grey. That grey there is different to this one, and I do prefer this one, don't get me wrong. But I want more of a grey on there. I think I'm probably going to go for something like that on the actual guard wall. And I think I'm going to go for a darker version of that on the house itself. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I know it's obviously spending money that without unnecessarily, but at the end of the day I want the place to be exactly how I want it to be. And at the same time they also do the stain. The steps is a stain, so I might actually get all this stained as well in the same colour. It'll just make it look better than it actually does at the moment. Still looking for solutions down here on slabs, so again, anyone's got any slab ideas, let me know. Thanks for the comments and the advice you have been giving, but I just need some help on the slab front if anybody's got any ideas. I think you'll agree the grey steps, now they've been stained, look 10 times better. Again, they're not painted, they're stained, so they look a lot better in that colour. Again, we can still go over them at some stage, but at the moment that's the colour we're going to keep them, as we've done here as well. And then we're looking at an option here, Begonia first obviously. I want to try and do a square bit of astroturf in here, and I want something over it, so whether we go for some ropes across here or whether we go for the Begonia, I don't know, but the Begonia is going to cost money. Ropes over the top would be a lot more cost effective, so I think I'm going to give the ropes a go first and see what happens, and then we'll try and find, if anyone knows anywhere on the island where you can get fake vines, ideally quite big thick bushy ones. I was thinking about coiling some fake vines through it to try and create a shade. So anybody's got any ideas where I can try and source these things, let me know. Koimans have got the ones that you pull apart and they go up, but again, they're not, that's all they've got. So anyone got any other ideas, let me know. Failing that, I'm not too sure if we're going to be checking in any more today. Oh, in fact, one thing I will do, for once the electrical cupboard is open. Let me just quickly pop my head in there and show you what we've got in there. Now, this is one of my problems. I showed you already that the actual lids themselves were not fixed in properly. They actually mask and tape them with a duct tape to try and stop the concrete going on the top and ruin them. But what they did actually prevent was the concrete bedding with plastic. So now what we've got is water leaking through the gap itself and also through the lid. So we've got to try and take this lid up and change it. So as you can see, there's a bit of water down there. We're getting a little bit of water in there, which you shouldn't be getting any. So I need to put some filtered louvers on the left and on the right to get the air going through. And I need to change this lid to ensure that we don't get any leaking coming through. So if anybody's got any ideas on that, let me know. I had a good suggestion last night from PS, if I remember rightly, talking about in America they've actually got the tunnel fans. So they're protected on the top, and they got blades around them, and the air spins the blades around and pulls the hot air out. That would be a great option. Obviously it won't look great on the patio, but at the same time, if I can find a decent lid that goes in here and we can mount one of those as well, and it doesn't allow water to go through, then that might be a great option. Certainly better than drilling massive great holes in the side of the building, that's for sure. So anyway, anyone's got any other ideas? Certainly if there's any pictures around of anyone else that's done what we're talking about, then let me know. It would be good to try and see that. I will update you a little bit later on, but as it is at the moment, I can't see a great deal happening.